You one day in a little toy shop, buy a pack of balloons with the money we got, set them free at the break of dawn, till one by one they were gone. Back at base, bugs in the software flash the message, something's out there, floating in the summer sky. 99 red balloons go by. It's red alert, there's something here from somewhere else. The war machine springs to life, opens up one eager eye, focusing it on the sky where 99 red balloons go by. 99 Decision Street, where 99 ministers meet to worry, super scurry, call the troops out in a hurry. This is what we've waited for, this is it boys, this is war. The president is on the line as 99 red balloons go by. Nights of the year, right? Super high-tech jet fighters. Everyone's a superhero. Everyone's a Captain Kirk, with orders to identify, to clarify and classify. Scramble in the summer sky as 99 red balloons go by. As 99 red balloons go by. 99 dreams I have had, in every one a red balloon. It's all over and I'm standing pretty in this dust that was a city. If I could find a souvenir just to prove the world was here, and here is a red balloon, I cry for peace and let it go.
If there be but 100 of us remain alive, never shall we under any condition be brought under anybody's idea of a new world order. It is, in truth, not for honor, nor for glory, nor for riches that we are fighting, but for freedom, for that one thing alone which no honest person would give up, save with life itself. Once we were warrior poets. For now, we must stand for peace. Alex, how are you this afternoon? It's a bit changeable here, but I don't know what it's like there, but it's getting warmer at least.
Yeah, we've definitely got the heat, surviving the heat wave.
Oh, well.
The heat wave for Scotland, anyway.
So, you all right then?
Yeah, I'm good.
Now, we did get some sad news this morning. So, why don't you tell folks the bit of housekeeping that
Yeah.
We
Okay.
need to.
Well, things change, times change, and people come and go and take a break, which everybody has the right to do. We've always said, and we will always say, family first. So for the moment, I don't say forever, but for the moment, Glenn will be taking a step back and he won't be coming on the shows at the moment. Like I say, we all say family first. And hopefully he will get to a place where he's happy to come back and join us and able to come back and join us again. In the meantime, we will carry on as we always do.
Indeed, and obviously best wishes to Glenn and his family, and yeah, family comes first. We always say that, and it's very true. So hopefully things get sorted out from soon, and there will always be an open door, always. Now, today, just so everybody remembers, I did give everybody homework last week.
Yeah.
And I did say that anybody who wanted to could come on and discuss with us the homework that I gave. So Alex will put the link to the studio into the comments. Anyone that wants to come on, feel free. Just click the link, follow it. On top of that, anyone who wants to be part of any of our shows, you're always welcome. You know it's an open door policy. You've all got something to say. We see you in the chat, so come on and say it to the world. Well, Alex, it's again been another busy week.
Yeah.
Well, where to start? Let's just start with the most important one. Now, let me get my phone because I don't want to give any disinformation. So let me just quickly look up my Twitter feed. And so, overnight, Russia absolutely pummeled Kiev and other cities in Ukraine. Russia has been fighting with one hand behind its back now for a long time. That's been Putin's decision. That's been because at the end of the day, Putin is a humanist. He considers the Ukrainians to be brother Slavs. He does not want to necessarily kill civilians, and he doesn't want to lose his own men unnecessarily. Now, the thing is this, that the Russians warned. Hi, Wanda. We'll get you in this. The Russians warned the second phoned on May the 9th and said, if Ukraine attacks our May Day celebrations, we will wipe out Kiev. Now, it doesn't get much more blunt than that. Ukraine, however, using British-made drones and Starlink and US guidance, 2 days ago attacked a college in Lugansk, a place called Starovelsk, where 21 children between the ages of 15 and 18, and 63 others, children, 21 killed and 63 severely injured. Of course, the blessed BBC are refusing to report it. A lot of the Western media are refusing to report it, but over 50 journalists from other countries have arrived to look at the devastation there. The Russians have published the names of all the children who have been killed, because that's what you do. Unlike Israel, who just says, oh, thousands were killed, but never publishes any names. Dmitry Medvedev said, the drug-addicted freak and his Bandera-affiliated gang have provoked a harsh response from Russia with their terrorist attacks on children. Apparently, this was intentional. They needed to trigger massive strikes against the structures located in Kiev. Let everything burn. It's easier to beg for money and weapons this way. It's easier to steal. It's easier to make excuses, especially since our strikes might help consolidate part of the electorate around the current despicable Kiev regime, which of course is important for it in the upcoming elections in country 404. So what? My phone's doing funny things. So what? Not to strike at all. Excuse me. Not to strike at all to avoid provoking the strengthening of the neo-Nazi regime. No, of course not. We need to strike. We are doing today, and even much more forcibly. After all, the runes and grey ashes in the place of their capital symbols demoralize the enemy no less than the loss of a battle standard. Now, the Russians unleashed not one, but two Oreshniks. They used Zircon and Kinzhal hypersonic ballistic missiles. They used Iskander M and KH-101s, hundreds of drones, and even using the old gravity-style bombs. This was a message, and it's a message that if Ukraine continues to provoke, if the West, if Europe continues to provide drones and weapons, the next time it won't be two Oreshniks, it will be a whole battalion of Oreshniks, say 9 of them, which will do the equivalent damage of a tactical nuclear bomb. And we should all remember that Russia's had its nuclear forces on high alert and practicing. So I think Kiev ought to be very lucky today that Putin again has been restrained. But decision-making centers were hit. Alex, well, let's see if I can bring in Wanda. Wanda, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
There, Wanda?
I'm
Where are
not.
you coming to us from?
I'm in Sudbury, Ontario. That's Northern Ontario, Canada.
Okay. Yes, of course. The communist state of Canada. How
Yes,
are things
yes.
there in the great white north?
Getting worse by the week. Yeah, we're not happy campers over here.
Well, no, none of us, I think, anywhere in the West are happy campers. The Russia is sending a message and it's a scary one. Do folks in Canada hear about these things?
I don't think, to be honest with you, anybody pays a whole lot of attention. I mean, they keep voting in the same people. And this guy here, Carney, he's, destroying the country. I don't know what's going to be left in another year or two, but people just seem to just carry on and take it. You don't hear a lot of commenting. People don't talk a lot about politics around here. It's like a taboo subject.
And I think that's part of the problem, isn't it, Alex? That people just don't talk about it. Whether it's because of normalcy bias, whether it's because of the agendas that get pushed, and or whether it's just because of ignorance. I mean, nobody in this country listening to the BBC would have heard about that college being struck. Nobody. Oh, but the evil Russians did an unprovoked attack on Kiev. Oh, you'll get that in the BBC. And we inch closer and closer and closer to the point where Russia is either going to use a tactical nuclear weapon and wipe Kiev off the map once and for all, and or 10 minutes. 10 minutes. That's how long it would take in the Reznik to hit anywhere in the United Kingdom. Alex, that should utterly terrify people, should it not?
Yeah, it should, and it just doesn't. And that's that normalcy bias, that burying your head in the ground, that thinking that voting's ever going to, irrespective of who you vote for, voting is ever going to change anything, that any of them are any different than any of the others. It should make people afraid, and I'm not saying hide or cower in fear, but it should make people afraid. But it doesn't, because they've painted this picture of, the Russians will never do anything. They'll never do anything. They're losing in Ukraine. They can't even beat Ukraine. And all these narratives on top of narratives on top of narratives, it seems to seep into people's belief so that they don't see the danger anymore. And that's what winds me up with people, and I've gone off on a tangent, but that's what winds me up with people that say it's never going to happen, or we're never going to see a nuclear war. They're just built using fear. They've never used fear on the World War III. They've downplayed it at every step, every stage. They've never used fear to push it. They've done the opposite. And it's working.
And yet, every country in the West continues to support this openly Nazi. Yesterday they had a parade, Fair Day, where Zeke Heiling and the whole damn thing to the Maiden Square. William, by the way, I know you're watching. If you want to jump on, brother, when we, when we transfer to the lone gunman, that would be because we're doing predictive programming. But yes, it's Germany, Merz. We're militarizing. We're turning our car factories into tank factories. Where we heard that one before. Britain wants to lead a naval blockade on the Baltics. Britain, Germany, Poland, Romania are building drones for Ukraine as if there's no tomorrow. We're taking our taxpayers' money and we're literally throwing it down Zelensky's golden toilet and up Zelensky's not so golden nasal passage. People don't care. I mean, Wanda, is is there still support? Is there still support in Canada for the Kiev regime?
Uh, it depends. Like Facebook is half and half. So I don't know. Because people don't really talk about things here, it's hard to tell. So it's sort of like the COVID times when nobody was talking about COVID or the vaccines or the forced injections or the government boots. So no, I don't know. I don't know. I A lot of people are pro. Like, this is a very liberal town that I live in. And so we see lots of the Ukrainian flags and things around. I personally don't understand it. You know, if anybody knows even a little bit,
Well, I kind of do.
even my
Winston
father
Churchill.
used to tell me this is a Nazi place, you know.
Yeah.
And my father was
Well,
Polish from the Second World War. He ended up in one of the camps. One of my brothers was born in a German labor camp. And they told me stories about how horrid, like, the Ukrainians worked with the Nazis at the time. So I don't have a favorable impression of them. And Putin seems to be the only rational person in the world right now, in my view.
no, absolutely. Winston Churchill sent 600,000, over 500,000 Ukrainian Banderite Nazis to Canada. Maybe that's why
Yeah, and they
you
invited
have.
one of them into the House of Commons to
They
celebrate
did
him.
indeed, and gave him a standing ovation.
They
Well,
did.
let's move on then. Let's talk a little bit about Israel. And it's not bad enough that this little ethno supremacist, Zionistic, genocidal country feels that it can control the entire world, feels that it can use this anti Semite term to cancel anybody, anywhere, at any time. But Ben Gavir doesn't just kidnap peaceful Europeans off a flotilla in the middle of international waters, but doesn't just humiliate them on camera for the world to see, but now we have the reports coming out of the rapes. And of course, we probably shouldn't be too surprised at that because, let's face it, it's in the Wall Street Journal, it's everywhere about how Israel routinely rapes men, women, and children in their custody. And it's almost to the point where it's hard to find something new, a new low level of what these people are capable of. But they managed it, Alex. They managed it. I read a report through the week which made me literally cry. They found a mass grave in Gaza where children had had their hands, and I'm talking young children, had had their hands bound behind their back before being shot in the head. And the world says nothing, Alex. The world says nothing.
how do you ignore that? How do you condone that? How do you say they've got the right to defend themselves, but Hamas or October the 7th, when you're shooting kids in the head execution style? How do people rectify? How do people align that? How do they fit that into a narrative that makes Israel the victims? I don't understand how people can do that, and I'll never understand how people can. But there is a massive propaganda campaign from them at the moment. But how do you ignore that?
Around the world, if you're a politician, unless you bend the knee to Israel, as we saw with Thomas Massey, well, you're in trouble. Okay, let's move on again. Wanda's phone was dying, so that's why she jumped off. Let's move on again to the United States. A random passes the White House and fires a shot. Oh well, Trump needs his ballroom, doesn't he? And it's all one big Iranian plot. Tulsi Gabbard, the one person that we thought might have a bit of sanity in the Trump regime, she's finally resigned.
Yeah.
She says it's to be with her husband, but there's only so much ritual humiliation and freezing out that one person can take.
Yeah.
Then you can't believe a single word out of Donald Trump's mouth. You just cannot.
No.
So he's talking about, or apparently him and Netanyahu had a falling out. Netanyahu's hair was on fire. That Netanyahu's going to be visiting the States. That Trump wants to de-escalate. They're very near a deal with Iran, and Iran is going to open up the straits. They're going to kiss the giant Oompa Loompas ring and beg forgiveness. Except the Iranians don't say that. And in fact, the Iranians are still thinking that they could be attacked at any time because that's the playbook. The giant Oompa Loompa might today be talking about peace, might today be talking about reaching an agreement, but tomorrow he might decide to bomb the hell out of Tehran again. I think a big part of this puzzle is that the Hajj started today. If you don't know what the Hajj is, people, the Hajj is the yearly pilgrimage to Mecca. If you are of the Muslim faith, once in your life, you are supposed to make the Hajj, to do that journey to Medina and walk around the Black Cube. Now, we can get into all that maybe later, but it's Hajj. 1.5 million Muslims from all around the world will be there right now. Saudi Arabia does not want Trump bombing Iran at this moment. Kuwait doesn't want Iran being bombed because this time Iran, just like the Russians, see, when you start to listen to what these people say and take them seriously, the Iranians have said, if there's a resumption of the war, if Iran is targeted, and by the way, they just shot down an Israeli stealth drone trying to enter their airspace. Iran has said that if this war resumes, not only are they going to escalate beyond anything that happens to them, that means that the UAE will be gone. Power gone, desalination gone, people gone, Dubai, desert. Simple. But they also say they're not just going to restrict their actions to the region. Now that means that they're confident that they have missiles potentially that could strike the United States, potentially that could strike Europe. Should people be worried, Alex?
Well, if you listen to Trump,
should they be like Wanda in Canada and Ontario, where, well, if we just don't talk about it, it'll be all right. It'll go away.
Yeah, that's what they want to do. That's what people seem to want to do. Full stop. It's burying the head in the sand. But if they listen to Trump, then they've destroyed 100% of their military 3 times now. If you listen to these lies, then you believe, oh, well, we're on the point of peace. We're negotiating a peace. But the thing is, Iran's never going to let him control that narrative again. They're never going to let him say what he wants again to his own people. Every time he comes up with these lies, they turn around and go, no, we didn't. No, we're not. Yeah, you've got no control over that. And they can contradict in every lie that the White House is putting out, to the point that even the propaganda game they're playing, I had to start wondering when I'm watching some of these, because I do like their Lego videos, even if they are AI. And I'm watching some of these and I'm thinking, are Iran thinking they can regime change America? Because some of we're calling out to the people of America, we see you. And some of the responses they get back. Now, I don't think people will ever do anything, because they never do. But it did make me wonder if it's actually got into their head that maybe they could turn the game on its head.
Well, Trump posted, I don't even know what you call it on Truth Social. I don't care. I'm not going to call it a truth. But he posted, Iran lost the war and they're losing the negotiations. Okay, Donald. Whatever you say. There is a new Lego movie out, by the way, or a new Lego doodad, because they're getting quicker and quicker at putting these out, about the farce of this guy that apparently was shooting at the White House. Yes, so you'll need to look that up. Yeah, I mean, I do get. People just want to get on with their lives. The problem is, in doing nothing, they are enabling the powers which shouldn't be to do what shouldn't be. And there is a reason for the season. Whether we like it or not, the world is changing. Whether we like it or not. Right now, especially in the West, especially in this United Kingdom, we're playing a game of normalcy. And that game is that as long as they can use up all the strategic petroleum and oil reserves to make it look like things are normal, then that's okay. Problem is, and this includes the American strategic petroleum reserves, by the way, you Americanos. Trump is using them up like there's no tomorrow. He's selling them like there's no tomorrow onto the international market, because you're not oil independent. There ain't enough Texas tea for all of you. And even if there was, it's the wrong kind. to make good diesel. Capiche? Everything starts to run out second week in June, Alex, unless it's great or musical. You know, all we can do is tell people.
Yeah.
Whether they listen or not is up to them. You know, we can share the credible economists who are saying it. We can share the credible news reports of how bad things are going to be.
Yeah.
But if people won't listen, they won't listen. You know, people want to respond with, well, I don't see any shortages here. Oh, well, okay, that's fine. I'm like, great. Yeah, you will. You will. And one that people really ought to pay attention to is they are broadcasting loud and clear that this year's El Nino is going to be the worst since 1877. Oh, what happened in 1877 here? Well, I'll tell you what happened. The El Nino that year caused worldwide famine that killed 50 million people. And not just in Africa, in the United States, in Europe, 50 million. That was back when the world's population was about 3 billion. Do the math. They're telling you it's going to be exponentially worse. Any thoughts, Alex, before we transition to the lone gunman? And we'll throw out the link again as we do it.
Yeah.
But any final thoughts before we transition?
Just that all we can do is keep putting that message out, and all we will do is keep putting that message out. But people see so short term. We say something, you tell them something, and their answer is, well, it's not. I'm not seeing it now. No, you won't see it now. You'll see it in a week, in 3 weeks, in a month, in 3 months, in 6 months, this time next year. It's not all going to stop. There's not a, this is happening, bang in your face tomorrow. What we're trying to say is this is happening. Do something about it now, not when it's too late, when you know, when you can't deny it, when it's on top of you. Trying to warn you. But people don't see a future, they see now.
And I think part of the problem is that you're right. The things I warn about are sometimes 6 months, sometimes a year. You shared with our little group one of your memories that came up, and I wish I was wrong. Anyway, I think it's time for the lone gunman to ride again. Stay with us, people. William, come on. Anyone, come on. If you want to talk about the homework that we said, or anything else you like. See him wasted in the saddle. He comes riding through your town. He's wearing yesterday's misfortunes like a smile. Once he had a future full of money, love, and dreams, but he spent like it was going out of style. But he just keeps on believing that for better or for worse, he's searching for a shrine he's never found. Never knowing if believing is a lesson or a curse, or if going up is worth coming down. He's a poet and a picker, he's a prophet and a pusher. He's a pilgrim and a preacher, and a problem when he's stoned. He's this walking contradiction, partly truth and partly fiction. He's taken every wrong direction on a lonely road back home. He has tasted good and evil in the bedrooms and the bars. He's traded in tomorrows for today. He's running from his demons and he's reaching for the stars, leaving everything he's loved along the way. And the world just keeps on turning, so for better or for worse, all he ever gets is older and around. From the rocking of his cradle to the rolling of the hearse, going up's not worth coming down. But he's a poet and a picker, he's a prophet and a pusher. He's a pilgrim and a preacher, and a problem when he's stoned. He's this walking contradiction, partly truth, he's partly fiction. He's taken every wrong direction on a lonely road back home. Welcome, pilgrims. We know that you are truly weary of traversing a world which has gone entirely insane. The internet is full of misinformation, disinformation. It's a morass of AI bots, AI fakes, and just general shysters, shoosters, and snake oil salesmen. But somehow, some way, you found us this afternoon. So do come on in, have a seat by the fire, pour yourself a beverage. I'd make it hotter. I'd make it strong. Roll yourself something warm and brown and golden to get you through the day. Because today, the lone gunman is going to ride again. Alex, you like the little... Wait. There's a ring to so full of birds, and I've had that for ages and just thought, yeah, look at that. So, I gave everyone homework last week, Alex.
You did.
And that'd be interesting to know if anybody in the chat actually did their homework. The boss chose a movie last week for us to watch, and it got me thinking, and so I asked people to watch 2 movies. Today is called The Octopus at the Movies. So the 2 movies that I asked people to watch was World Breaker and Greenland, The Migration. Anyone in the chat, did anyone watch any of these movies? And remember, anyone is welcome to come on and talk about, because we're going to be talking about today predictive programming. And not just predictive programming, but the sort of predictive programming that they're pumping out now that will make your head spin. Alex, I know you did your homework, did you?
Yep, I did.
Let's start then with World Breaker. You watched World Breaker.
Yeah.
And so, well, Andrew's watched Greenland 2, The Migration. That's good. Tammy's watched it. Let's start with World Breaker. So, tell us a little bit about World Breaker, if you would.
Okay. Well, the thing that I Well, I didn't think it was a bad movie, oddly enough. It didn't get very good reviews from people, but it kind of got bad reviews from the sort of people that see Rambo purely as an action movie. But it kind of starts and ends at the Alamo. Now, I don't mean literally, but that first moment, that last moment is very much 180 were challenged by Travers to die, a line that he drew with his sword as the battle drew nigh. And it's that theme to it. It's kind of not really an action movie at all. It's kind of not really a war movie. It's not really even a sci-fi. It's, if anything, it's a survival movie, and it is, I guess, apocalyptical. Because what you are following for the movie is a father and a daughter surviving on a remote island. The rest of it's not the story. The rest of it's kind of the setting. But that setting is interesting. Now, I don't know if you want me to go into some of the predictive at this stage.
Yeah. Just go on.
Okay. Well, the background is that it started 15 years before the movie starts. And the first, and what they call the first stitch opened. Now, these stitches open, bringing through creatures from an alternate dimension. Creatures that are bent on the destruction of humanity. Now, it kind of seems, first of all, when you see it, it seems more as if they're coming up from within the Earth itself. And there's an element of that. The comment, they've always been there. But weirdly, whenever you find a review or a synopsis of it online, it always says a rift in humanity, a rift in reality, or a tear in the universe. And that idea that it's coming through something more than from the Earth itself seems to be throughout the movie. The idea that as soon as you close one of these stitches, another one opens. They start getting the feel more that you're looking at portals than you're looking at some sort of crack in the Earth. And that's the vibe you get as you go on through. But before that even starts, what we get is we get the movie set in a timeline. You see almost a flow chart, and you see chalkboards, you'll see chalkboard messages, you'll see newspaper headlines. And it gives you, like anything, whenever you look at history or whenever you study history at school, at college, or anywhere, they give you the short-term causes of something, and then they give you the long-term causes. Well, this does the same. It gives you two timelines almost. The first one shows you global warming to a warming of the Arctic and the melting of the ice, to then the first stitch opens, moving on to civilization collapsing. The long term gives you right from the beginning, it gives you extinctions, climactic shift, the asteroid killing the dinosaurs, famines, wars, taking you up to now when it starts quoting about overpopulation, tribalism, and global warming. And this is the other theme. It seems to paint a cycle. Everything seems to be in cycles, from starting the movie at one point that you then end it at after you've gone back in time, to this showing things over and over again in the long-term history. But it goes on, and the main characters escape to the island amidst a ongoing war. And this war's against these creatures that are coming through, which they call breakers. But it's also against hybrids. And this is where it comes back to another trope we've seen so many times. It comes back almost to the zombie movie trope. This idea that something can become infected, and it's pushed as an infection of the blood almost, or of the DNA in a way. Because the idea is that, and it happens apparently in the movie very quickly if you're male, and it can still happen if you're female, but it's a lot slower. So this is the other side of the movie they paint. They paint an idea where the men started fighting back, fought this war, but it had to be carried on by the women. And these hybrids, they're harder to kill. It's painted that they're harder to kill. The picture's painted that they are stronger, but you have to destroy the brain to destroy them. And this is the other thing. It paints a picture of a hive mind almost, or at least communication brain to brain. And you have this whole idea that it's the hybrid is created by almost a disease of the DNA, in that it's not a disease of DNA, a contamination basically of the DNA from the blood of the original breakers, and it attacks the Y chromosome. So this is the argument they have for it being a lot quicker to attack the men. But this is a story they paint. But there's almost 3 other messages coming through beyond this. One is the threats, because it paints you 3 threats, not 2. It paints you the breakers, the creatures from another dimension. It presents you the hybrids as them contaminating the species. And the interesting thing is, you always also saw in that original timeline, and again, where it has no obvious connection, you had a comment, if you feel sick, stay home. You had elements and the hints there of going right back to the convid. But the third threat it paints you is the humans themselves. And you see this early, while they're trying to escape to the island, as a guy tries to take over the boat. The threat is there for the breakers, the hybrids, but also humanity. When people come under pressure, they are. The second theme seems to be the idea of instinct and knowledge. You don't see a great deal of the battles. What you see is him teaching the daughter to survive, training her to be able to fight back, but imparting knowledge how to survive. And it's also that question, that debate between survival and humanity. He doesn't take the guy on the boat. Yes, the suggestion is the guy has been contaminated, but there's still that debate for their survival. He cannot do the human thing. And then the daughter, later on, a girl turns up on the island and she tries to help her. And again, she's been contaminated, and it leads to the downfall. That choice between humanity and survival that seems to be a theme coming through. But there's also an instinct there, because when she first sees the daughter, the girl, when she first sees the girl, she brings her in, she helps her, she saves her from setting up one of their traps. But as she leaves her the first time, she has some sort of dream, well, actually, she leaves her, so it is a dream. She has a dream where she sees her mum, and she sees her mum changing into one of these hybrids. And it's almost like there's a sense of a warning there, a sense that somehow her instincts, she's seeing something and seeing some warning. There's a third theme, and this is one I find most interesting. I called it in my notes, I put importance of history and hope, because the story they put through is that they have to tell this story. People need to know not just how the world fought back, but what the world was before. A lot of the reviews online keep saying it's 5 years after. It's not, it's 15. And the point is that the girl is 15 when the story starts. She was a babe in arms before the world fell apart. And they keep telling her, her dad keeps telling her the history, keeps telling her the story, keeps telling her to tell the story. But it's not just about the history of the world before. It's not just about the history of what's happened. It's about one guy, one hero called Kodiak. And it paints in a picture of hope for people. It's giving people something to believe in, someone to believe in. And the story changes each time it tells. It was a one breaker he killed in the first time. They closed the first stitch. It was 100 breakers. It was 300 breakers. He was a bear. He had a bear with him. And the story changes and things, but it doesn't matter what the story is. It doesn't matter what gives people the hope. It's the idea that people need a hero, the idea that people need a reason to keep fighting, that people need that courage, that strength that they're given by thinking there is somebody fighting with them. That seems to be, to me, the main themes that they seem to push through it. I don't know if they're all intentional. I don't know if it's just how it speaks to me, but there are definite hints. There are definite predictive programs, but there are also messages that may not be intentional, but seem to speak to me of where this world would be in that situation.
That was brilliant, Alex. Yes, you picked up a lot of what I did. And to be fair, to be very fair, if people had seen the movie, then I think they would start to get it. Now, I don't even know where to start. Let's start with Kodiak, shall we? This mythical hero. Now, and throw out the link again, Alex, if you can. People, anyone's free to come on and join this conversation. William, especially, you know, predict the programming is right up your street. Now, I call it the Robin Hood syndrome. And I realized this decades ago. It's called World Breaker, Deborah, not Earthbreaker. But hey, it's all right. So years ago, decades ago, I realized that they needed Robin Hood. You see, the story of Robin Hood was there was a corrupt king who was taxing the people beyond any reason and who was oppressing the peasantry. And along comes this one warrior who makes the difference, who gathers round him as a band of merry men to fight back. Steals from the rich, gives to the poor. Robin Hood, Robin Hood, Robin Hood. And then you realize, actually, that every single country in the world, every single culture in the world has its Robin Hood characters. In Japan, the Seven Samurais, which was the origins of the movie The Magnificent Seven, the old western. Then you had in Scotland, William Wallace, when actually it was Andrew de Murray who united the clans and really won Bannockburn. But hey, let's not history get in the way of a good story. You had, of course, Switzerland. You had William Tell. And over and over and over again, the story is told. Why? Two reasons. One, no matter how bad things get, if you take hope away from the population, then they have nothing left. When hope's gone, it's all gone. Yes? So you need to give the people the idea that somewhere, somehow, there is going to be this leader who will arise in the darkest hour, who will save them. And that's why people always look for a savior, whether it's a giant fucking Oompa Loompa or Andy Burnham, Mayor of Manchester, friend of Israel, wanting to take us back into the EU. It's all, but you see, that's why people need this hero that will arise, who will show them the way to fuck it off, I guess. But do you get it, Alex? And the thing that the flip side of it is, they can then monitor and see who potentially might be a Robin Hood and eliminate them before they ever get the chance to raise the people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So that's the first part of the Kodiak. There's so much in this one fucking film, right? We have, do you remember, and I think Glenn actually did it, it was the story from Vietnam, from the early days of night vision, and how modern night vision goggles are green. They use the green light spectrum. Whereas the earliest versions of night vision, the goggles were red and using the red light vision. The problem was that those who were wearing those red goggles start freaking out and losing their minds because they could see monsters. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They've always been here, you see. There we go. Alex is on the ball. Alex, why not come on? It sounds like you know what you're talking about. Then we have, and of course we got them. We got some answers. Donald was the first, but CERN, and we all know what CERN been up to. CERN's been deliberately, admittedly, they say it themselves, they publicize it themselves, that they are actually trying to open dimensions. And if you open dimensions, then what's going to happen? Well, things from those dimensions might just come through. And as it transitioned us from UFOs and ET phone home to UAPs, and ET is here, ET is coming through interdimensionally. That's what they're dropping in these so-called disclosure files, that ETs are really interdimensional. Oh. And then we have Peter Thiel giving lectures on Antichrist, and J.D. Vance saying aliens are really fucking demons coming up from the pit, maybe. And where's the pit? Oh, that's right, they built CERN right on top of where the pit is supposedly meant to be. Future wars. COVID. This idea that men are the problem, because men, we succumb to the, as you say, it's a zombie bite. If you get scratched, then you're going to turn. Women, it takes longer because men, we're toxic. Have men, because if you have men, you might just propagate the human race. You might just have children. And they're doing their best to get rid of the human race at the moment. And then, of course, that gets into the X-Files, and that gets into the hybrid, and that gets into the depopulation agendas. Alex, any thoughts so far?
Yeah, that one did get me because we're seeing this whole anti-male agenda, this whole almost try to masculinize women and try and just fuck with the whole balance of things. And it plays so much to that agenda. You start wondering what they're doing or why they're doing it. But I don't see it somehow as being some massive infestation or massive something that's going to affect only the Y chromosome, so only affect men, or not only affect, but affect faster. There's something more in that one, but they are trying to push, and they've got to put that into everything, because there was a bit in it where they kept saying about the is it because all men are evil? And ever since this 62 million nonsense, which was never men, it was hits, and it was never one hit per person anyway, and it was not even all that part of the fucking website. Ever since that nonsense, it's everyone until it's none. And that is the biggest fucked up attitude that you can possibly have. So there is a battle there, but it's not the one they're trying to paint, but it's very deliberate.
Well, okay.
Sorry.
No. I kind of get that for people. This movie might have been a bit fringe. You had to have. I think it's which one is it? Amazon Prime to watch it. But there is some more popular movies. So let's start with because you watched all three. You hadn't seen the original Greenland film. Now I know a lot of people in the comments did watch the original Greenland film. Gerard Butler, that mediocre Scottish star with a terrible accent. And it gets worse in the second movie, by the way. But anyway, in the same way, tell people about the original Greenland movie, just in case they hadn't seen it.
Okay. Well, it kind of, we're back away from alien disclosure, and we're back on the whole idea of asteroids, or in this case, it's a comet. And it's the interstellar visitor, which we've oddly seen a lot of lately, and a lot of movement in that way, a lot of stories in that way. And so the comet comes, it gets announced, and the kids hearing it, because there's always got to be a family in these stories, but the kids hearing it at school and being taught about it at school. And it's just another comet that's going to pass by the solar system. And then suddenly what you hear and what you see is they've suddenly realized that it's going to enter the atmosphere. But it's going to enter the atmosphere. It's going to burn up in the atmosphere. There's nothing to be worried about. And then it enters the atmosphere, and it didn't burn up. They think it's going to make landfall. But the different parts of it, the different pieces are going to hit at different rates. And the shock comes because the first piece hits Florida and hits that surrounding area and basically wipes out Florida and that surrounding area. And that's when you start seeing, again, these two mirror each other, because you start seeing the effect on humanity. You start seeing the effect on the human species and how people react. Because the first thing you see is a message comes to the main guy and to his family to say that they've been chosen to survive effectively, and he has to report to this airbase, which they do. The family report to this airbase. They're given these wristbands, and they're about to be loaded on the plane when they realize they've forgotten the kid's insulin. And he wants to go back to the car, and it's, oh, well, I'm waiting for my husband. He's gone to get. But the message comes out the bit they didn't realize, that the child had what's considered a life-threatening condition, and therefore he wasn't going to be let on the plane. They lose each other in the chaos. They start trying to find each other, and they start moving on. They're not going to get on the plane. And that's when you see the response in people, because they are trying to get hold of these wristbands. They're trying to get what they see as an escape option. You see people, and what ends up happening to the guy is he ends up, the way it looks, he ends up having to kill the person who's trying to take that wristband from him. Meanwhile, the mum and the kids are given a lift, given a way to move along. Someone gives them a lift, and they end up stealing the child stealing the wristband from the mum to try and get on the plane. Not quite sure what the inclination is to trust the authorities. I think I'd be running the other way, but that's the story that they are painting. And what they find out after this is that the planes are going to Greenland. And I know we've done that on the show, looking about I think that was Glenn as well, but looking at the massive underground base that is in that area going back to the wars. And that's where they were trying to get to try and get to this bunker. And they end up managing to get another plane, which just about gets there just before the main piece, because the first one that hit Florida was just the small break-off piece. You've got these hitting all along, and you've got these continuing to hit on. And then you find the main ones going to hit somewhere between Europe and Africa. And in the end, it strikes Europe, but they feel the shockwave from that. But in the meantime, they've got to this bunker. They just got in this bunker, and it seals just as the shockwave hits them. That's one.
There we go. There we go. Again, a pretty spot on synopsis of the movie. Where'd you even start? Well, one of the themes that I've been returning to time and again in these shows is that if, big if, Nemesis is real, Planet X, the Anunnaki, if all that's real, two solar systems don't come together without dragging a hell of a lot of debris with it. And one of the things that you can do it now if you want, folks. Do this simple Google search. Ask Google if there's been an increase in meteor activity. You'll be surprised, because it says immediately, yes, there has. But then it goes on to try and blame it on, well, an increase in the usual seasonal fireball activity, human perception, all of the cameras that are out there now, and just that we're more aware of shit. Except they keep finding these massive asteroids that are just literally skimming the Earth's surface. crazy as it seems, it's 2026. And in 2029, they're kind of worried about Apophis. Apophis? Yeah, that's right. They called an asteroid after the god of death and destruction. And they keep saying, well, yes, there's a chance it'll hit, but it's only a tiny chance. They're not admitting how much of a chance it is. But if Apophis hits, it wouldn't come alone. It would come with a cluster of other smaller fragments. If an asteroid did wipe out the dinosaurs, it did not come alone. Now, I'm still waiting for someone to jump on. Put out link again, Alex. Let's see if anyone's brave enough. Alex McFarlane knows a lot, so come on. Now, if the government knew, let's pretend, okay? If the governments of the world knew that something was incoming, would they tell the population, Alex?
No. No, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't. And the bit that keeps, sorry.
Go on.
The bit that keeps ringing in my head was there was a video clip going around a couple of years ago, or it probably was a couple of years ago now, and it's a guy talking, and it's like it's something about it if it hit a population center, and then someone says something to it, and it's almost like stunned into silence in shocked horror. And I can't remember the details of it at the moment, but that kept popping into my head. I don't know if you remember that one.
No, I do, actually. Now, again, if you're the government or the powers which shouldn't be, and you knew something was coming, well, you would want a database of people who might be useful to have in safe underground bunkers or bases because they had the sort of skill sets that you might want to employ post. Here's Kier. Hi, Kier. Post the event. Does that make sense, Alex? That you would keep a register of such people?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Just check the door. How are you, Kier? Oh, I think you're muted. Don't have any sound for you, Kier.
No.
And it's on your end because your mic's not appearing muted there. Try that now.
No, I can't hear you. Try going out and in again.
Yeah. Go out and come back in, Kieran. We'll see if we can get you because your sound is just not coming up. No worries. Yeah, Alex. So you would keep a register of people like that, wouldn't you?
You would.
And ain't it funny? Trump's obsession with Greenland.
Yeah, that struck me as well.
Because why did they build the Doomsday Seed Vault in the Arctic? And so, is there a list out there in COG or whatever else of people that they would like to spirit away into a deep underground base before an event happened.
They'd be stupid not to have it, to be honest, if they were planning on having any form of society afterwards.
Well, yes. And does that then start to talk about Deborah's on the ball? Oh,
Yeah.
like missing scientists that leave their phones behind and go out for a hike and never come back. Maybe. Any thoughts, Alex?
If you wanted the right people there, then people writing them off as being sort of missing, as in they've probably died, or being even people suggesting you've got rid of people, still hides the idea that you've made them disappear somewhere, that you can use them at a later date. It would work quite nicely.
Oh, it worked very nicely. And is it any coincidence that our current political elites throughout the world are absolute fucking morons? Are we really meant to believe that these are the best people? That Donald Trump, of a country of 330 million people, Donald Trump is the best person available to be president? Is Queer Keir Starmer the best person to be prime minister? Is BlackRock Merz got the German people up to heart? No. So maybe some of those that would have risen to the top are already gone to the bottom, if you follow my drift. And again, we get back to that X-Files thing of shadowy elites doing a deal with the overlords that are coming back. And those overlords, shall we call them Anunnaki? And that when Nemesis comes in, not only can we expect meteor strikes to hit left, right, and center, and for decades. That's the thing. For decades. People like to fucking believe that it will be a one-off event, that it will be a pull shift, and it will be unpleasant for a year or two, but things will get back to normal. When this shit happens, it's going to last for fucking years. Does that make sense, Alex?
It does, and that's pretty much the predictive programming you get when you start looking at Greenland 2 or Greenland the Migration, because it's 8 years after and they are still seeing strikes, they are still seeing problems, and they're seeing a lot of other things that suggest something more than just a comet or a meteor, that suggests Earth changes beyond that.
Keir, it depends on what device you're on. If you're on a laptop, try with your phone. And if you're on your phone, try on your laptop. Alex can send you the link directly in Messenger to your phone. That might help. But yes, we are. It's more than coincidental, and it's more than interesting that they are pushing a narrative at the moment of disclosure, but with disclosure comes other events. And of course, we've got Steven Spielberg's movie, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Well, let's see if Kier's in now. How are you, Kier? Say something. In a little bit. Well, let's see if Kier's in now. How are you, Kier? Say something.
I'm good.
We've got
I think
a
my
lag.
microphone actually works.
It does.
Have you got the
indeed,
show
but
on
what-
another device?
Sorry.
Are you listening to the, I think it's cleared up now, actually.
Yeah, I had to go from my laptop to my phone just to get the mic working. I'll look into it later.
That's fine. It's all right. We had an echo
Kier.
for a minute. I thought you were playing it
Yeah,
on another
Kier.
device.
Yeah,
Well,
they were both on. Sorry.
Right, but there's two things, right? One is these things happen suddenly to our devices. You know, the boss was actually, because she uses my laptop to do the online shop, and I think she thought I was making things up when I was telling her sometimes I can just look at my phone and my phone will be going in and out of websites and opening up pages and doing all sorts of things, and I'm not touching it. Well, the laptop started doing it to her yesterday when she was trying to do the online shop.
Hi.
Yeah, look, it's just coincidence, obviously. Obviously. But the other interesting thing was that when you first came on there and you had the show on your laptop or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
there was a clear,
That's true.
almost 30 seconds or more lag, which is extremely interesting since we're broadcasting fucking live.
Well, yeah, I would say there's about a 10-second lag, maybe, or even more. Yeah, from between the phone and the laptop.
They shouldn't be able to do this, of course, but they are. They're intercepting midstream. That's just in case I stray into areas that they really don't want the world to know. So, how are you anyway, Kier? How's your day been? You've been working?
I have, yeah. It's been one of those days, Ian. I've been up since 3:30 in the morning, and then we had a 2-hour delay because of logistics, which put me back obviously by a couple of hours. And then, of course, we get into Aberdeen, and it's a bank holiday weekend for 90% of the normal people in this world. So the roads are busy, the town is busy, and of course, in Aberdeen, they've shut down one of the main thoroughfares from all the way down the beach, all the way to skip the centre of town, which has now been closed, which means obviously there's more delays, more cars, more. So everyone's trying to get somewhere, frustrated to go and enjoy their bank holiday Sunday, their barbecues or whatever. So it's just a knock-on effect, but I got here in the end, so I thought I'd pop on and say, fit like.
No, it's great to have you, mate. Absolutely great to have you.
Cheers.
And we'll need to meet up now that we're a bit closer.
I was actually I just going to say, I was up past your gaff, or your new gaff, I believe, about 2 weeks ago. I was taking my dear old mother up to our eye appointment in Inverness, so straight through your town, I think.
Oh,
so yeah,
well.
I'm thinking, where do you live?
We'll talk off here.
I know,
But
I
aye,
saw
if
this.
you're ever through, give us a shout.
Aye.
So we've been talking predictive programming, and obviously we're up to Greenland. But then,
Yes.
interestingly, they've just brought out brand spankety new Greenland, the migration.
Okay.
So, Alex, why don't you tell people the synopsis of that? And I'll try and grab a cigarette.
Okay. Well, basically, they've got to the end of one, they've got to the bunker, and it's not the best of life. It's not what they were used to. It's surviving day to day, trying to keep the system working, trying to keep the electric on, trying to keep enough water. And it starts pretty much the second one where the first one ends. And there's the discussions about they've been contacted by someone who wants shelter, and it's do we have, and we don't have enough food, we don't have enough to let these people in. And what you're seeing is you're seeing people going out, but going out full masks and full whatever to see what's out there, to see what supplies they can gather and gain. And the end, though, is that they will let these people in, except they never get there, because as they're heading for it, basically a storm or a strike, whatever you want to call it, hits and it destroys where they've been sheltering, and they all have to make a run for it. And it's trying to get to the boats, trying to get away, trying to get out of there and leave the country. And they get to that situation, and again it's that same this set of films and the original World Breaker, they seem parallel, and it's that message between survival or humanity. Do you help, or do you help some and endanger the whole, or do you protect the whole by refusing help? And they've got this same thing. Can they get enough people on the boats? Do they have to leave some behind? But eventually this boat goes off, and the boat leaves from Greenland, and of course, and this is where we start seeing more, and you have a major strike, it's going to, I suppose, affect other things. But this is where it starts feeling much more like it's predicting a pole shift than just a meteor or comet strike, because the tides have changed, the currents have changed, everything has changed, and they end up sailing from Greenland, and they're trying to get basically to London, but they end up hitting Liverpool. And what they find is you've kind of got two groups. You've got the people that have been left out, the people that didn't have the right skill sets, they weren't interested in saving. You find these people, and you find again this attitude that your biggest danger in these situations is the rest of humanity, that desperate people will do desperate things, that hungry people will do desperate things. So they go to find someone they know, and they get a guide to take them to London. But there are still strikes happening. There are still these problems. There are still these dangers. And when they get to London, and when they get further than that to the English Channel, well, it's not a channel anymore. There's no water anymore. It's become land. It's like the whole of the world has been, well, if that's not a prediction of pole shift, then I don't know what it is, because it's like everything has changed within the gap, within the period since before they sheltered to now. But what they end up heading for the original crater, where the original large strike was. And it's like a life has kind of blossomed out from there, that people are living there and rebuilding society from that point. And that's become almost the idea of a utopia, and that is what they end up heading for. And again, They beat some people that try to destroy and some people that help. And it's again that mishmash between people being the danger and people still trying to hang on to their humanity. Eventually they get there, but they get there through a war zone, because you've now got a resources war. You've now got people trying to claim this territory, and eventually the end point is they reach the crater, and the end point is that they're then at the center. That's the rebirth, or going to be the rebirth of the world and the rebuilding of the world. And that's the good news part of the story. They're telling you that is the picture they're painting, that after every destruction there is then a rebirth. And again, it's that like these two mirror everything, because again it's that I can't get that word out today, that's cycle going through over and over again, that after destruction then there is rebirth. And again, it's the trying to get people that, and he brings in, it's his son and it's a girl, one of the people they met on the bay. They bring the kids to the start of the new birth, to the start of the rebuilding of humanity. But it's always portrayed at a price, and it's always portrayed as a thing that in both of these, you've got people that weren't part of the plan, weren't part of the invite, trying to get there and getting there and fighting through. And there seems to be a distinction between what they want and what the other people, the people they don't care about, do. But again, it seems to be that feeding of a hope argument, keeping the hope going, but keeping the hope going that the answer is to go where they send you. The answer is to go where they want you to go.
Yeah. Again, a brilliant synopsis, Alex. If you haven't seen the movie, you get a lot from that. Now, again, where to start? And I do apologise, I did forget to mute my mic, so I think there was some interference. Yeah, so they're in their nice, cozy survival bunker, but there's problems. One of the problems is that they thought they were only going to be in there for a short period of time, and it's 5 or 10, I can't remember, so many years later. And things are just as bad. And there's a radiation. The thing with storms are radiation storms. And the air quality is radioactive air, so people outside are dying from slow radiation poisoning. Almost as if there'd been some sort of nuclear war, or even perhaps nuclear meltdowns of all the nuclear power plants. Yes. And then the other problem is what destroys their base is ongoing earthquake activity. And Alex, you've done the math for us before on the show. You've shown earthquake activities through the roof. Sinkholes. Have a Google of sinkholes, people. Big old massive one just opened up in Kentucky. They have no idea how deep it is. No idea. No. So it's not one event. It's going to be multiple events, including war. Keir, does that you get that? It's not just going to be one thing. It's going to be multiple things. It's not just going to be pole shift. It's going to be pole shift and meteorites and war and destruction. Does that make sense?
Well, how many horsemen would you like?
Oh, exactly. Exactly so.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense to me. There's been sinkholes appearing all across the world. I think it first came to my attention when they started happening in fields in Turkey, I believe it was. And then last year, I think they had the massive earthquake in Turkey. Then, of course, there is the Ring of Fire, which is reigniting itself. Then there's Yellowstone, which is showing unprecedented amounts of activity. And then you've also got everybody always thinks about the volcanoes they can see. They forget about the ones they can't. I mean, there was the Tunga volcano a few years back, and there's an increasing amount of volcanic activity of the underground volcanoes happening as well. So you're going to have the earthquake, the pole shift, the sinkholes, the volcanoes, the floods, the wars, the famines. It's just, I think I'm going to run out of fingers if I keep on talking. You know, it's just, what are we heading into? If it's not man-made, then it's going to be man-made of dust soon enough, I would say. Crazy.
Just before we transition to Lone Gunman, we were talking about how this year they're talking about a super El Nino that could well bring famine to the planet. Well, interestingly enough, back, it was the year 1077. The sun didn't shine. Not for 3 years. The best that could be seen was at midday, it looked like a moon glow. Now, we've long known about this, and archaeologists and scientists have long blamed the so-called Dark Ages on this event. We've only recently found out that what happened was it was a giant volcano that erupted in Iceland. And its ash and dust spread out over the northern hemisphere, which made it incredibly cold and blocked the sun. But then, do you know all these forest fires that we've been having, all these wildfires that are happening all over the world? There's actual scientific papers that suggest that having masses of forest fires might be a good thing, might help to dim the sun. There are think tanks in Washington, D.C. who are talking about how a limited nuclear exchange might not be the worst thing that could happen to dim the sun. Oh yes. Oh yes. The predictive programming is off the scale. Wouldn't you agree, Alex?
Yeah, very much so. They have to tell us. They want it in people's heads. They want people to know. But they also want people to be able to write it off as just a movie, just fiction, and keep their head buried in the sand.
Deborah says the highest point in her county is behind her place, a mile straight up. You see, here's the thing, as that movie Greenland Migration shows, with a pole shift with crustal displacement, mountains, there are fossils in the Himalayas that show it was once at the bottom of the ocean. And they are disclosing left, right, and center all the underwater cities just off coastlines that were once high and dry. But here's the real nub or rub of this thing. People somehow have this notion. People who think they know something about something, that it's okay. We'll build our little survival community. We'll have 10 poets and one fucking farmer, and everything will be fine. They don't think that if you build a community, you'll have to protect it from those who would want to take what you have away. They don't think that hungry people become desperate people. There comes your zombies. They don't think that the biggest problem they're going to face is other humans. In a war for resources, other people are going to be your biggest enemy. And I can't help, and I'm going to open that now for a general discussion with you both, but I can't help but throw something in, Alex. Almost surprised that you didn't pick up on it yourself. So at the end of the movie, the mother and the son and the lassie they've picked up along the way in France, they're heading into utopia. You can see, the fields and the lakes and the trees. What about the people already living there that made those fields, that planted those trees? Are they just going to welcome in with open arms any old cunt that fucking manages to find themselves there? Oh, you mean like migrants? You mean like immigrants? You mean like people that want a better life? Ah, yeah. Here, have you thought through, just asking, just as a general, throwing it out to the world, the implications of if something actually happened and we went straight into an apocalypse?
Well, I've got to say, yeah. I mean, I've been watching movies like this since I can remember. They've been trying to come out with these. I mean, probably since the mid 80s, late 90s, and all the way through. And like you say, it's not the giant spiders or bloody beasts you should be afraid of. It's other fucking humans, because they are the worst kind of, guess what, people.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, yeah. And so you could be sitting there with your 2 years worth of food. It reminds me actually of the film, I think it's 28 Weeks Later, with Robert Carlyle.
Yep.
And they end up there holed up in some little hamlet in England somewhere. And they let in the one wee boy. And they say, no, come in, we'll keep you right. And it's like, we've got to save me, the wee boy. But he's obviously been followed by hundreds and hundreds of zombies, right? So the zombies get them. But on top of that, you could say, so say you've got your food and you're imagining that maybe 90% of people don't have food. How are you going to hide your steam? How are you going to hide your heat? How are you going to hide your light? How are you going to hide the smell of food? It's like, how are you going to survive in this one wee ranch without having hordes and hordes of not zombies, but just normal starving people that are, they'll be able to imagine. can smell bacon from a mile away, right? Let alone if you're starving. Or, or rice, or like if you've got an underground bunker, how do you keep the steam coming out from the ground? How do you stop yourself from being discovered? How do you keep yourself safe? And this is where you start going in, you start getting enclaves, and that's where you get your bricks, your joiners, and whatever. And you start building yourself a wee, 14th century fort or something, or even earlier, to try and protect yourselves. And then you've got to leave, like, who do you let in, who do you not let in. And of course, you get into the whole social framework, or the whole social fabric of that enclave on the inside, let alone letting all other people you've never met before to save them in to help them, which may be detrimental to you, so etc., etc., etc. But I believe it always comes back down to the malfeasance of humans. It's always seems to be a main thread in these movies.
Well, but I mean, I think that's absolutely true. People are the worst things out there.
I've met a few.
Well, the thing is this. You don't need to even go anywhere apart from the show. The online trolls are typical of the worst of humanity. These are the people that, if it came down to it, to a survival situation, you would not want to have in your fucking lifeboat. You would not want to have in your fort. You would not want to have in your survival group. But they don't care. The military, I've said this before, the military actually does train and have exercises for just about everything. And one of the things that they do train for is a zombie apocalypse. And people laugh and they take it as a joke, and even the troops take it as a joke, except it's not a joke. I've explained before, civilization is 9 missed meals from Mad Max. If something happened tomorrow where you couldn't just go to the supermarket or the shop and get your just-in-time supplies, most people don't have more than a couple of days, if they're lucky, food supplies in their house. And that means that 9 missed meals, less than 2 weeks, starving people will start to roam around looking for any food they can eat. 1 month in, large numbers of people will turn to cannibalism. And at the end of the day, what is a zombie? Someone who wants to eat your fucking flesh. My friends, that's a cannibal. That's mass cannibalism. Does that make sense, Alex?
Unnervingly, yes. But it's always a bit that people ignore. It's always a bit people don't want to think about. They want to believe that the world will maintain its humanity, that if you don't help people, then if you don't help people, then you've lost your humanity and you're not on the right side anymore and you may as well die. But the problem is, it's just like any situation, whether that is something like the army fighting an enemy, whether it is anything else, you've got other people that you're responsible for. Because if you do help that other person, then everybody under your control, under your command, may die. And that's what people aren't ready for. That's what people will never be ready for. It's what I've been trying to scream at people for 6 years now, that you can't just build a community unless you can defend it. Walking Dead to me was one of the ones that kind of dealt with all the real potential issues and understood that your enemy was humanity, not just the zombies. And the one thing they come to conclusion of very early and it was done on the characters' names. That there was a debate whether you went on with what they called a dictatorship, or if you had a missionocracy. Democracy ain't gonna work in that situation. You can't give everybody a vote because people always vote for what's bad for them. They don't know what they're voting for. The only way you would ever survive in that situation is with a proper hierarchy. Much as we may not like that as freedom fighters, it's the only way that anybody would ever survive.
Yeah, no, if I was to have to lead a survival community, it would be a dictatorship. It would be an absolute military dictatorship. There is no other way I could do it. And there would be very harsh penalties for anyone who went against the community rules. Be from exile to execution. Because it's the only way you could do it. And people don't like that, Alex. No, they don't.
No.
They don't. Keir, does it make sense to you?
Well, it's a hard choice. A dictatorship or a commune. I mean, when I remember things about communes, I go back to movies like Easy Rider. That'll be my first watching of like, it would be the hippie commune of people running about, and then like they have a vote on who can do and change the leader every week and this kind of thing. I mean, it's a difficult one, very, very difficult. But as far as zombies goes, just wait until people realize that the nanotech that they put in their bodies keeps replicating after death. And then maybe you'll get real zombies. Maybe.
Well, seriously though, right? So you're a band of roving Mad Max cannibals. Think what was Thunderdome, the third Mad Max film, right? Would you rather go up against a well-armed military dictatorship that knew how to defend itself, or a hippie-loving commune where everybody just tries to get on and tries to understand it? And I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings when I said, don't leave that fucking gate open. I mean, which would be the easy target?
I think I'd rather fight the thems, to be fair. No offense to anyone that's a them.
Exactly. Let's pretend. Honest to God, if we get through the next couple of decades, and that's a big fucking if for me. And the thing is, this has been the truth for fucking ever. Go read something classic. Oh, I don't know, like The Lord of the fucking Flies. But if we survive the next few decades, historians are going to look back on this period of time and call it the age of stupidity. The age of let's fucking pretend. Let's pretend that men can be women and women can be men. Let's pretend that putting on a dress makes you a fucking woman. Let's pretend that you can identify as a it, they, that, whatever. That today I'm going to be a dog and tomorrow I'm going to be a fucking pig. Let's pretend that the Russians don't mean it when they say stop, or we're going to have to nuke you. Let's pretend that you can close the Strait of Hormuz and everything will be fine. Let's pretend that There's a cold out there that's the deadliest disease ever, and only if you go one way around the supermarket and wear a fucking face snappy. Let's pretend. It's the age of let's fucking pretend. And it needs to end. It really needs to end. People need to sober up. They need to wake the fuck up. And they need to get ready. Because you can feel it in your bones, people. If you have a instinct left, you can feel it coming. In the air tonight, full of spitting. I want to know if you've ever seen the rain, because it's been coming for a long, long time. Kier, can you feel it? Can you feel that something's coming down the road?
I'm hoping that's a clear water Creedence survival.
Yes.
Oh, thank God. I've still got a memory. That's good. Yeah, I feel it. I can see it coming down the line. I've seen it for years and years and years. Like I said on a show a long time ago, once they did 9/11 for me, that was a wake-up call. And I was like, if they do that, they can do anything. And then, of course, the financial crash. And then when they went into COVID, I was not surprised one little bit. I've got to say, for the first week or two, I was like, wow, this happens every 100 years. This has got to be real. And then I think I was furloughed for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, something like that. And then we got so busy that they were like, you got to come back to work. And I was like, thank God, or else I'm going to go fucking crazy. This is no way for a man to live, right? At all. And then when I started looking into it, obviously not watching the yellow fucking warning signs they got on the government plinths, I was like, this is a whole load of fucking bullshit. And that's when I completely turned, and I went back to my conspiracy theorist. I don't really want to mention, but my conspiracy theorist brother, who'd been speaking about this for like 30 years, and I just never had the time. And I sat with him and had a conversation. I was like, wow, you were so right. He was like, well, you can't wake anyone up, mate, but it's coming. I was like, yeah. And it seems to me like there's no going back, right? They're all in lockstep again. They're all digital IDs. They're all bloody fuel shortages. They're all wanting people to stay at home. Like I said before, they don't want people gathering, having wee chats together. They want everything you've said to be digitized like we are right now and recorded and put into some massive data center that's going to destroy half a fucking town or a whole town, right? So I see it coming. It's been a long time coming, but like I said before, they're accelerating it to try to make 2030 definitely 2040, and by 2050, oh my God, if I'm still alive, I hate to think if I'm still in Britain, what I'll be living as. But yeah,
I have, you pay your money, you take your chances in some of these things. But the one conspiracy theory that I heard that I thought from the get go, yeah, I think this is it. I think this is what's really behind everything. Is Nemesis, is Planet X. Because if you plug that in, everything else makes sense. But because you said it's accelerating, here's the thing here. It would turn out, as it happens, that, and for smart people, they don't always fucking think. But if you have two massive bodies approaching each other, see, the closer you get, the faster the fucking acceleration. And it seems to me, watching from the outside, that they keep getting caught off guard. Things are happening faster than they thought they would. That's why they have to go faster than they thought they would. And it comes back to those fucking Nazis. One of Alex's favourites. If they can convince you to believe absurdities, they can get you to commit atrocities. Alex, is
Yeah,
that not
very
right?
much. Very much so. And the first thing that I was thinking when Keir was talking is they're not controlling the timeline anymore. They're not in control. They are running and playing catch up. And they really are, because they have motives for what they do. We deny the motives. We like to write it off as a psychopaths. They have a motive for everything. And it's their survival, not ours. It's their survival. If they had their way, they would drag it on as long as they can. And one of our old theme tunes, it's a line in that we've lost it. They say you get used to a war, but that doesn't mean the war isn't on. And people over the last 6 years have got used to the war. So have I. I've got weak. I've given up on the things that were in my head at the beginning of this 6 years ago. Watching these films this weekend has kind of put me back on track. I need to sort out my plans for future. I need to sort out bug out kits. I need to be fit and know knowledge is more power than anything else. We've got used to this war. We've got used to thinking it's all, they're just psychopaths. They've done this over and over again. Yes, they have. But this is, when this comes, this will be the nexus point. This will be the point at which they finally try to bring everything they want, whether that's a return to, as you said so often, the Atlantean condition, or what that is. They're not controlling the timing, but they want to be in control. And we need to be ready. We need to be ready.
I think it was Oxford University that came out with a study that said if mankind went extinct, it may well be octopuses which build the next civilization on this planet. You couldn't make it happen, could you? Keir, any last thoughts for the audience, my brother?
I don't think so. I think covered quite a lot there. We've got quite a lot there. But believe it or not, I've got an octopus in the back of my car.
Calamari tonight, is it?
No, just the way things have happened, or I've ended up on this show and stuff. I was in touch with Peter Jankowski, who's a really good artist. He does a lot on pyroglyphs, I think I'm saying that right, and mushrooms and shamanic visions and stuff. And he ended up sending me some freebies. So I stuck one on the back of my car 5 years ago, and it's still there. And now when I go up my car to go play golf, I've got an octopus staring at me. Who would have thought, right? Chances. What's the chances? Anyway, there you go.
Alex, last thoughts for the audience and plug tonight. If there is and before I forget, there will be no lone gunman next Sunday. I'm taking the day off. So, but there will be a smoke 'em if you've got them, and I'm assuming there'll be an international. But Alex, you'll know better than me in that.
Yeah, there will be. We'll be back tonight at 8 p.m. and we will be on next Sunday at 8 p.m. with Last Jacobites International. Last thoughts. For some reason, I've just got the picture. When I was a kid and we used to go to Mallorca or to Austria, used to go on holiday, we had this procedure where we'd go into a restaurant and me and Mum would end up sitting on one table and my dad would sit on the other, because he'd always be eating like the forella with the head on, the trout, or he'd be having the mixed grill. And they brought him out this mixed fish grill one day and it had this baby octopus in the middle, on the top, with the tentacles spread out round and into each of the different parts of this mixed fish grill. And that's where we are, because everything we see, every item we see, every agenda, every narrative is a little tentacle reaching out and sticking in that and interfering with that and controlling that, controlling the narrative you see, controlling the view of the world that you see. And when they say Octopus will build, octopi I suppose it is, will build the next civilization, they are rubbing that fucking in our face as much as they possibly can. We don't know, and we will never know until we get there exactly how this civilization will end. But if they think we're going to go quietly, they're going to have another thing coming. If they think we're coming quietly, they can fuck off. Because we will fight back. We always will.
Exactly. Well, there you go, folks. And that was your Lone Gunman Rides Again for your Sunday afternoon fix. Catch up with Alex later tonight, but for now, do me a favour. You know what you need to do. Over there is somewhere that you need to back you off to. Alex, please end the show.
We are the last Jacobites, proud and free, will not be bought nor bend the knee. Like our brothers cry and freedom's flame, we rise as one and stake our claim. Oh, side by side through storm and fight, we stand as one in truth and right. From every shore we answer the call, Clan Jacobite, we rise or fall. It matters not our skin or land, but hearts as one and hand in hand. The blood we share is brave and bold, in woven dreams and legends old. Oh, side by side through storm and fight, we stand as one in truth and right. From every shore we answer the call, Clan Jacobite, we rise or fall. I am you and you are me, a thread within this tapestry. For hopes of all, for every name, we light the fire, we keep the flame. No sea can part us, nor the land. Together strong, we proudly stand. With courage, truth, and spirits high, we pledge our oath beneath the sky. Oh, side by side through storm and fight, we stand as one in truth and right. Raise the banner.